hottest station is now live for your enjoyment with host iamBranded.
An actor icon in his own right, who is back on the airwaves with us right now, Mr. Antonio Fargas. He's mic'd up on Team Dime Radio. Hello, hello, and hello.
Hello, hello, hello. You know, when I'm looking at this lineup of speakers and every one of them distinguished in their own way, and I'm much honored to be, a part of this, or to have earned my honorary degree to be able to pass on, the knowledge that I have, because I don't have any books written yet. But hopefully there is some sort of documentation of my life and my journey that might be an inspiration to folks. So they're going to have to hear it firsthand. They're not going to be able to read it. They're going to have to hear it firsthand. And by coming to Wealth Day, they will be able to network with some fabulous people who have documented proof of what they have to offer, as well as the fact that they're there in person, where anyone who participates in Wealth Day can network, get numbers, ask questions, and have a connection to people who they think that they might never get a chance to shake hands with, to be in the same room, to sit down and for me to be teachable by them, by the opportunities that these young people and interested folks who want to make use of the guides that are put in front of them, to be able to open doors and open their minds and open their hearts to the infinite possibilities of wealth, and not just, as Paul was talking about, not just money, but spiritual wealth. Mm-hmm. Get spiritually healthy so that no matter what, they can deal with this in this hostile environment, which can consume us with what we can't do.
Right.
But the possibilities of what we can do are right out there waiting for them.
Let me ask you guys this, and I'm going to ask you both this question. And we have actor extraordinaire, icon Antonio Fargas, author extraordinaire Paulie Jones on Team Dime Radio. And the question, and we all have heard it before, cash rules everything around us. Everybody is really driven to be able to not just make the dollar, but also talk about how much they make. And, it's the beating of the chest and the bragging and the boasting and all things that come with it. And Antonio, I'll ask you this first. Why does this seem like it's the norm compared to, basically building bricks, building legacies? I kind of feel like we all should.
Well, I don't know. My mind just went to the fact that it's not first class that drives the airplane. It's coach. And people have to be empowered in coach. People have to be empowered by just going and doing the work and leaving the results. The queen bee doesn't do any work. The workers build the honey. The workers do the gathering. And to have dignity, which is why we had unions and whatnot, to give workers a sense of self-worth and empowerment in their unity. And we're just so divided. So we're trying to also bring people together so that they feel the power of self, and that they're not alone in their fight and in their struggle. And I always talked about jokingly that because when I used to fly first class and when I was in coach, and because I flew both, that when before 9/11, people in first class could walk to the back of the plane and walk all around, and they'd go up there, and then they'd close the curtain, and you couldn't go up there. And my empowerment was saying that if you're in first class, you need to stay in first class. Mm-hmm. You just can't walk over, because they don't allow. So we have a power that we don't even able to access. People don't know how valuable and rich and they are. I mean, like Paul wrote, "Who told you you were broke?" And that's a profound kind of statement, because people start believing the hype, believing
right.
that the door is closed, or believing that their cell door is locked. Our cell doors are open. All we have to do is step out on a promise, and what we're doing is reaching out and saying, take that step, like walking in front of somebody, saying, take that step. You can do it. And then giving them the means to get to realize their dreams. Everybody dreams, but nobody has the roadmap, or the GPS to get there. And we want to give out GPSs, basically.
Got you. Paulie, what about you?
Well, I look at it in a few ways. One, if you can get a person to only focus on money, you enslave them, period. People have to go off their talents. The reason I wrote Who Told You You Were Broke is because that takes your focus off of money and puts your focus on your gift, your talents, and your abilities.
Right.
And you will never look at what you have. You'll always understand what you're going to have. And, it's funny. I remember when I was in high school, they would tell me, you can go to school, get a good job, and making $40,000-$50,000 a year was good, and that was embedded in our heads. But what they were speaking to me about an income, but they weren't speaking to me about a net worth. So therefore, when I remember going to get my first loan, the first car loan, they asked me what I have for collateral. Well, I didn't have collateral because I didn't even know what collateral meant. I knew what I made. I knew what was coming in that week. We weren't taught, basically creating a wealth or having a net worth. So I learned that through trial and error. So the real difference what people need to understand is the minute you meet a person and their focus is strictly on making money, I already know I'm with a dummy. Because it's not about that. You will make more money focusing on your gift, because you'll enjoy doing what you're doing and it won't even feel like work anymore because your passion will go into it. And then from there is a person, if they understand what little they have, then they'll be able to diversify those funds. And you'll meet people, and I know people right now who live in my neighborhood, and they may not have the biggest income, but it is the decisions that their families made and the decisions that they're now making that has allowed to live at a higher level. See, we want people to focus on, number one, the words that they say and get an understanding of the words that they say. It's one thing that I'll teach on at Wealth Day and any conferences I'm at. I get people to understand when you read, when we read the sports page, we read every word because those words connected together make a phrase, and that's what helps us understand what we're reading and so we can comprehend it. But we have to also understand the vocabulary meaning of words. So when we take the word liability, then that word is costing you. That's something that takes away from you. And when you take the word asset, then that's adding to you. So many people right now don't even understand that the majority of the things they have going on in their life are liability-based. And that's what keeps them having cash ruling everything around them because they're focused on liabilities versus assets. While wealthy people, if you'll hear them talk about the fiscal cliff right now, they're focused on the fiscal cliff and capital gains because they know they have wealth. They don't want the percentage of their wealth be taxed more. So therefore, they understand what to put that in, or put that in your business name, or put that in your kid's name, or what have you. And I'll leave the accountants to speak on that. But I want to break one thing down for you, and I want people to understand that there's value in words, and they got to come to Wealth Day and get the clear understanding of what scheduling for success means, what Who Told You You're Broke mean. See, if you take the word liability, and it's almost like that old Sesame Street thing where you say the first half of the word and you put the second half of the word together, and you have a word. Well, if you take lie and you separate that, what is that saying? It's a lie.
Right.
And then you add the other part, then it says ability. So if we just use common sense, it can lie to you about your ability.
That's right. That is true.
So
that is true.
Now, if you take the other word and say ass, and then put set on it, what's happening is they're too busy being lied to about their abilities that they never get their ass sets.
Straight up. I get it. Team Dime Radio, Paul Jones, actor Antonio Fargas. I got to put in the boss, the owner of Team Dime Radio as well. I got a couple more questions for you guys too, but I know let me put the realist on. The realist, you are in the building with an author extraordinaire, Paul Jones, and of course we all know actor extraordinaire Antonio Fargas. The realist.
Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing, fellas? I'm listening to him preach, man. I can do that. I can listen all night, man. My ears are wide open out here, man.
Boy, I tell you, something that Paul and you guys have, brought to light, because a choreographer told me this once, and it really goes with, is that we see with our ears and we hear with our eyes.
Mm.
Yeah, that's real. That's real talk.
And when the words create vision, and then the sound creates, the sight creates is an affirmation of what we hear, So, and I'm feeling it very, very, very deeply, this evening, that that when we hear something and then it's affirmed by what we see, there's a lot of power in that. Anyway, That's all I got.
No doubt. And you know what?
Hey, Antonio, I'm real good friends with your son. I've been knowing your son, Justin, for a long time, man. We do a lot of music together. Real good guy.
He's a good man, and you know the fruits of when people come back and tell you about what your son is like. You maybe have done your job well. One thing I used to really get spiritual about when I would go see him play football. Before every game, he would run down to the end zone and get on his knees and pray for the safety of everybody and himself in that game. And they always talked about, and when I worked at, every team has a chaplain, and the chaplain said that Justin was very active in that spiritual side. And these guys beat each other up for a whole game, and the announcers never talk about the guys on both sides of the team. And I got some pictures of my son kneeling after the game, with those other players, and they'll be talking about, how they messing up here or what they did there. But that positiveness is not something that sells
they don't
well
speak
on
on
television. And they ain't going to speak on that spiritual side. And that's what I feel in terms of this Wealth Day as well, is that we need to get ourselves aligned spiritually. And when we get aligned spiritually, we can conquer everything,
There you go.
Yes,
WealthDay.net is the place where you can be able to go check out all the information. It's going down December 8th from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Check the times. You can also go on the website and get more information. Everything is available for them as far as being access to get to it. And I'm going to ask you guys both this question. And Real and I, we're big fans of not just the author game, but also the acting of Mr. Fargas, too. But I'm going to take this one to Paul Jones real quick. It seems like it kind of goes into the same thing as far as the acting game. A lot of people want to be authors, and a lot of people want to do certain different things. And I know when you do Wealth Day, you're gonna give the game to as many people as that's there to be able to share with everybody else. So my question to you is, when it comes to that, and basically to leave a legacy as far as what's on print and what you put out, what steps or how do you feel about the people that actually is trying their best to be able to put the best kind of book out that will withstand the test of time and just be a good read for, all generations from 4 years old to 90 years old?
Well, the main thing is it has to be relevant. I really say anything that's going to come to the marketplace, you want it to be relevant that will withstand this test of time. And that's why if a person really picks up any of my books, they'll see that there is a spiritual value and a spiritual overtone in each of my books, because the truth of the information that I'm getting, that has been there for thousands of years. Now everybody is going to have problems. We can go back, and as I had a conversation with my uncle this past Thanksgiving, and they were cracking jokes about the gas. He said, "Man, I don't worry about that stuff." He said, "Young man, when I was, in the 70s, we were in line getting gas, complaining how high the gas prices are." And he said he remembers gas lines. Oh, so then here we are today, people saying the same thing. And he said, don't get caught up in that. And he said, but what that also taught me is that, you know what, a lot of things, although they change, they stay the same. You know, we still eat popcorn today. However, how we make it is different. You know, I remember, again, as a young man, you know, we would put that popcorn on the stove, and I still do that today because I like it better that way.
Amen.
However,
Amen. I did that last Saturday.
It pop a lot better, man. It pop a lot better, man. Your lips get a little more greasier, man.
Yeah, I gotta have it like, and the salt sticks better for some reason too.
Hey, there you go.
You know,
there you go.
But if you go to my 6 or 7 year old or the average 10-year-old today, 15-year-old or teenager, and ask them, hey, go make some popcorn, they're gonna look. You could have a bag of corn sitting right there. They're gonna look for that microwave.
Yeah, they don't know about putting a little old grease in the skillet, man, and make it jump off, man. They don't know nothing about that, man.
They don't. If they ain't burning, they risk a little bit. Then they don't get it right.
That's right.
Yeah. The main, if they're going to be authors, it has to be something that, you know what, this story is going to last. We may change the wrapping, we may change how it gets done, but a lot of things actually, although it looks to change, it's still the same. So today we still need gas, or we still need fuel. I won't just call it gas. We need fuel and something to get our automobiles going. So if you write, you have to write in that lane that knows that, well, people are going to need transportation. I don't care if they're teleporting. They're still going to need to transport themselves. You know, people are going to still eat popcorn or eat, period. So whatever they're writing, it should be relevant, you know, because if you date yourself, then a fad can change. You know, if you were writing about disco, well, that's just going to last then unless someone's going to come and bring it back. You know, but it's one, I think, Mr. Fargas, that I'll learn on, and I want people to know that, you know, I may have done so well in business and write books, but when you have a person that has been in the game for 52 years and he's something, and I want people, you know, and I'm not stroking his ego or anybody's, I don't get into that, but I also respect, you know, things when it needs to be respected. When you have a person that's been in the industry for 52 years and succeeded, that you got to understand that they've been through ups and downs. You know, everything doesn't go perfect, you know, because that's handling your business also. You know, then when you look at his seed, you know, understanding how hard it truly is to make it in the entertainment world, then back that up at how hard it is to make it in a professional athletic world. Now, that's some strength. That's some inner strength. That's some stickability. That's some, you know, something there that says, you know what, we're going to train. We're going to learn. We're going to push it to the max. So whatever we do, we're going to go all the way. That is wealth right there.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I'm going to be what pad in front, and I'm going to be taking my notes, and I'm going to drain him for information.
You better believe it.
Man, enough to do it.
That's right.
On them. I have to get mine. So we never stop learning. So when you see successful people, you know how the Word of God says, you know them by the fruit that they bear also. Well, his fruit is saying, hey, my son didn't just play a year. He played several years, and he started, and he really was effective. That meant his son also had to go through pressures, disappointments, but fight the battle and overall come out a winner.
That's right.
Injury. I mean, all that stuff.
Exactly. And let me add on to this, and Paul, you segue that in perfect because, you know, Real, you and I, we know. I mean, this guy right here, Antonio Fargas, is a Huggy Bear, man. I mean, you know, he did.
Hey, man,
so
I watched the life after on Huggy Bear. I still have it TiVo, and I learned a lot. I thought I knew a lot because I mean, like I say, me and his son, I asked his son questions. You know what I mean? Like, your daddy Huggy Bear. You know what I mean? But he totally different. And then I watched the life after. I was like, dang, you know, the way he came up and you know what I mean, and his whole theatrical scene when. I watched the whole thing. It was so much stuff that I didn't know. I seen him from the start, seeing Hush Days. I grew up knowing them that because I was from Texas. I saw those parts of it. Then I seen him dressing up and doing plays when, you know, he dressed up as a female and it didn't break his stride at all. You know what I mean?
Car wash.
Exactly.
Yeah. Come on, man. That's when you know you got it. You can switch up every avenue and still stand on top in your game and be one of the highest sought after actors that's around.
And my question,
I want to take my hat off. I want to take my hat off to one of my peers who has won Academy Awards and everything. But go watch Denzel in Flight.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go see that this weekend.
Yes.
He is on top of his game, and there's so much to be learned there. But again, it's like, my son had to grow up. When he would flash on TV, they would talk about him. They would say, yeah, that even Deion Sanders used to say, that's Huggy's baby. That's Huggy's baby. I mean, he had to live with the fact that it was for Huggy Jr. and all that other stuff.
Right.
And he knew my struggle, and when I see the struggle that he went through, from breaking his leg on national TV to transferring from Michigan, from taking handoffs from Tom Brady to going to USC and working with Troy Polamalu and Carson Palmer, and then getting having only 1 year to get drafted in the third round, and then being drafted by a dysfunctional team like the Raiders, and giving his all out there, and be voted by his peers, by the players on the team, to get the Commitment of Excellence Award 3 years in a row, unprecedented. And even in the third year, when he got his third year Commitment Excellence Award, that was the year that they cut him, because it's just a business. I had a resentment against the Raiders, but you know what? It's not a resentment. It's a business, and it's a tough business, just like acting, and it's only what you got. You know what I mean? As long as you got it, they'll be paying for it. But when you become injured, or when you don't have any more, you don't have any left, and you've given it all to them, they're gonna move on. And he tried to get it together, and then come back and maybe work out with Denver Broncos, but they cut him. And then he said, you know what, I don't have it anymore. I have the desire, but I don't have it anymore. But that's a special day, and we are tied together in that respect. And I told him that he's going to do more with Fargas than I did. And we talk about legacy. We're talking about, I know whose shoulders that I stand on.
Right.
The people in the business who are for me, and I'm making my shoulders strong for my son, for those people who come to Wealth Day, to prepare me for them to understand that they have a responsibility to make their shoulders strong and pass it on to the next ones. And so I think your show is aptly named. It's about legacy. And
right.
It's about how these 52 years I have in the business, and it's my 66 years on the planet, which was encapsulated in just a slight tip of the iceberg in that Life After documentary they did on me, says that, by somehow, and mostly through spiritual and divine intervention, then they talk about in Pulp Fiction that I am here today, and we were born to be here today on this phone. Only God can put on a production like life, to know that we all took a journey to be here this evening, to be talking on this telephone, and there are no coincidences in what's happened, and our acceptance level has got to be high, but we also have to have a sense of impatience. I have less patience, but I have more acceptance, and it's a balancing act, because life is about balance, and we have to, and I think part of tempering our desires and all that with humility. The great people that I've met all have a sense of humility deep down inside, and to be able to find that right seat on the bus of life. And it's an ever-changing deal. And the more information and the more education you got, your seat can keep changing, because we don't have to settle for one thing. That's what we talk about, reinventing yourself. We'll be talking about that at Wealth Day also. The distinguished Angela Ellaby and the branding people, Renee, who talks about as a life coach and how to reinvent yourself or repackage yourself. But you have to know what you're repackaging, and you have to keep that. So it's not about just tricks and mirrors and reality shows. It's about really having something self-worth, so that no matter what the package is, you feel good about it.
And I'm kind of glad
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned reality shows, because that was one of the questions I wanted to briefly just, because I want you to just kind of share all that wealth on Wealth Day, and people can go to wealthday.net. It's December 8th from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You can check the website for all the information, and just make sure you take a trip down to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to be able to get it in. But briefly, if you can just kind of share with us, just, because to me, I always see it. There's some reality shows that I deem like, okay, it's relevant, be it like documentaries, stuff like that, stuff that's educational. I get that. There's
Right.
other ones that's not. And when you have an actor like yourself, and there's other actors out there that's really disappointed by, the people that's doing improv, you know what I'm saying, or the people that's sharing a lot of that TV time, or having it taken away. What are your thoughts, and what can you tell that actor or actress that's really out there trying to be able to make a name for themselves, but it's getting detoured by a lot of reality shows?
Well, I mean, it's just changing times, and I think, I'm ready to step aside, because I can't make the dignity that it took. I mean, now, I live in Las Vegas, and when Las Vegas was young and everything, you had to have, besides the fact that they even let us in the casinos, but everybody had to have a suit and jacket. Now there's such a breakdown and a change in society that morals, integrity in television, and in news, all of those things, and reality shows have taken a lot of, computers have taken away musicians. There are no more, a lot of times, all the orchestras that used to be around now, because the technology people are becoming obsolete, and that's another part of the political climate that the politicians don't want to talk about, is that if they gave up unemployment insurance, there'd be anarchy, because people are never going to be retrained unless they come to seminars like the ones we're putting on, is to be able to repackage and reinvent yourself. But, some jobs are never going to come back. The auto industry is getting more and more with, automatons and robots and all of that. And so people have to figure out what to do with themselves. And the dignity of doing what we call handcrafted stuff. I mean, if I was starting a business, I would start a business that used human beings, so you could get on the phone. Or banking that was just you. My gimmick would be that everything is hand done. I would start an accounting firm that only used pencils and papers, and not computers, because people just would, for the vogue of it, would want to possibly have that experience of we're interacting with a human being, and that's it's so lost. And reality shows are just another outgrowth of that. It's just the dumbing down of society in a lot of ways, and because people are becoming obsolete, they'll go for anything. I used to go to movies for dreams. I mean, we weren't looking that much into reality. It was about fantasy. It was about getting out of self. Now they're trying to more blood and gore, more sex, more stupid gossip. I mean, who cares what somebody's wearing and all that other stuff? But soap operas are out of date now, because they were also fantasy. So they're going away. It's all about Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton and Rihanna and all this stuff that has nothing to do with the talent. It's just an interesting world today, and I know I only have a few more years on the planet, and I have strong memories of a time and an innocence, where people discipline their families and your kids and all that. Now you can't even talk to people. I mean, it's just so. I mean, and what the beautiful thing about sports and what Justin was doing is that it's such a metaphor that you need people. It's about the team.
Right.
I know what I'm going to miss about acting is not the acting itself. It's about backstage. It's about rehearsal. What Justin's going to miss, and what he misses is the camaraderie in the locker room. It's about practice. It's about practice before the performance. You know, we just get a
It's
few
that-
seconds out there, you know, when the cameras roll, but it's about the community that it takes.
Yeah, the behind the scenes.
It's the behind-the-scenes stuff it's the smell of the grass, you know what I mean? It's the smell of the backstage and the theater. It's the popcorn, all that stuff that we talked about.
To me, I don't mean to break your conversation. The best part of me doing music is the making of the music, the sitting in the studio, the long nights, the turning the knobs, they're getting they're getting the level up right how I need it to make the bass richer in the track. I love that, and the people don't get to see that. They don't know how many. I mean, 3 days in a row, just bird bathing it in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So
that's the love. That's the love. And,
yeah.
And part of your story is the same thing that we're going to try to give those people that experience in terms of my disciplines and what I bring to the table. And it's the same with anything. It's anybody about Paul's journey to get to be an author. It's all about, that's the love. You know, when Paul talks about that, you know, he wrote a book or decided to do something because his daughter was born. It gave him an inspiration to move on or to find something that was meaningful in life that he could, you know, pass on not only to his family but to the world. You know?
That's right.
Self-worth.
And it's funny that you mentioned it, Antonio, about just, you know, that interaction with people when you do what you do, even every day outside. And Paul, you know this because I interviewed you and I asked you and I told you this literally, like, you know, I'm a people person, so, you know, I can go say hi to a stranger and then they'll turn around and look at you like you done shot that kid or something like that or whatever. And to me, it's just, you know, there's no connection. I can stay high, but you know what, Paul, I got to tell you, even though a lot of people ignore me when I do say hello, doesn't stop me from doing what I want to do too. Because eventually,
don't be afraid to fall in love, man. Even
exactly,
if, you know,
exactly.
Keep looking for love, man.
Exactly. I'm gonna still say hi to a stranger, and they can still walk by and not even acknowledge me, but that's okay. I'm gonna still do it anyways, because that's just how I roll.
That smile that you give them consistently, they may not say nothing back, but it may help them, you know, in the long run. And when you lead with love, no matter what, you can never go wrong when you lead with love. And a lot of people right now don't understand because they don't have that real, true home-grown teaching that you know our parents had and gave. You know, that's been taken out in a lot of cases today. So, you know, because we don't pick the phone up and reach out and touch anyone, we just will text. So sometimes people are so in a new way,
sending a letter,
not communicating that to actually say hello and hi and I called you. They're like, oh, why'd you text me? Because I wanted to talk to you. You know, so we have to just lead with love and lead by example. And as times change, we have to control the change to the best way that we can. And that's just what it is. And when folks come to Wealth Day, they're just going to, our whole thing is we have to spark that certain thing in them to actually realize that they can do it and just don't be afraid to do it because each and every person has a wealth about them, and that's going to be the day that's Wealth Day is like their birthday. So people in Minnesota be saying December 8th was my birthday to wealth. And then from there, that's life change.
Wealthday.net is the website to go check it out, of course. Mr. Jones says December 8th. It's going down 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You can go on the website and get all the information you guys and girls need. It's very vital to me, in my opinion. If we're going to all try to build legacies, the best thing we could do is get the game from the people that's done it, and done it again. And I'm telling you, I mean, in a nutshell, that's really how we roll. We learn from, you know, what's that saying that each one teach one? That's
each
it.
One teach one.
That's it. That's it. Before we let you guys go, and I know Real want to say his goodbyes, but I just want to tell you guys, hey, you know what? I appreciate the fact that we got not only a wealth of knowledge, and Paul, you said it best, 52 years. Anybody that's listening tonight should understand when a man has 52 years in a craft that's withstood generations on generations, and everybody loves this guy. You got to pay attention to what this guy is saying. Period. And Paul, your 2 books I got. Your two books are beyond awesome, and I'm telling you, it's I gave one to my mom, and she hasn't given it back because it's a good read, and I want to read it again, so I might have to just buy it again, just so I can have it for myself, because she didn't hijack my book, man. So she loves it too.
Just get in touch with Angelo and Mary, and we'll get you another one. You ain't got to go buy one.
Man, come on, man.
Hey, well, Paul, I'm supporting. Check this out, Paul. I'm going to buy both your books, and we're going to have you back on here, and I'm going to talk to you about what I read in both your books. That's how I get down. You know what I'm talking about? Because I love reading. You know what I'm saying? And your last name Jones, we might be related because I'm a Jones, too, so we might be related somewhere down the pipeline.
Well, we're going to where?
You know, I'm from Texas, man. I'm from the South, man, so we might be related around here, man. And we spread that bread.
Well, we all from the South. Some of us just don't know it.
There you go.
Everybody from the South, man. Everybody from the South. Did nobody come in? Did nobody come in here through the West Coast at all, man?
Like we all from. I'm just a slave. I just made it this far north.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And Paul, I appreciate it all, and continue to do what you do, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, if I can be able to take that trip down there on December 8th to come check it out, it's important. And you said possibly it's going to come out to the ATL, right? Eventually, one day soon.
Well, our goal is to bring Wealth Day to as many cities. We're just seeing for the interested parties. We're just going to be there. Myself, Mr. Fargas, a few others. And, maybe a different lineup in certain cities. But, you got myself, you got Mr. Fargas. We built a relationship and a camaraderie and a certain respect that, I'm at peace with him, and we just want to go out and give back, and it's, I'm the type of person that I don't get frustrated because people are lower income or people are struggling. I get frustrated when they don't do nothing with the talent they have. So from there is, if I'm not speaking and teaching, then I can't get frustrated. So therefore, we have to go out and say, hey, you don't have to live this way. Let me show you what I did. And if you can get something off of it, great. If not, I know at least that I tried to impart value into somebody's life, because everyone that I see, I know is a valuable person. I'm just trying to get them to see themselves the way I see them, which is valuable.
There you go. And Mr. Antonio Fargas, I have the tremendous amount of respect for what you've accomplished and what you continue to, as far as inspiring others and of course, letting us know that there is an opportunity for you to continue to have a footnote in history by doing the thing you love to do. So your passion, just like Paulie, is important for us to be able to grab. So you know how I feel about you, man. And like I said, people, pay attention to this man. He has more game than anybody that ever have game in the history of games. So, hey, it is what it is. And Mr. Antonio Fargas, I got love for you, man. I do.
Hey, thank you, my brothers. And, hey, we only pass this way once, man.
That's right.
Let's make the most of it, okay?
Yes, sir. Antonio, I appreciate you for calling in to my show, as well as Mr. Paul Jones. And, we're going to keep this moving. And like you say, we only pass this way once. I'm a preacher's son, and I really do believe in that, man. And my ethics run so deep. And, Paul, my word is bond. I'm going to get it branded. I'm going to get both your books. I'm going to speed through every page. And I say speed, I ain't means running through them, but I mean I'm going to put my eyes to all the paper, man, and I'm going to get you back on, and we're going to converse about it. Most definitely.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Let's get it
Gentlemen.
done. Nobody gets out of here alive.
There you go. That's right. Gentlemen, I'll see you at Wealth Day. Everybody go check out wealthday.net. And I appreciate the love and the time, you guys. Be blessed. Happy holidays.
Thank you for listening to the #1 radio station for the people.
Nexxlegacy Radio.